Shift the way you lead, the way you live. Clarity, courage, change. Because your next level won't wait. This is Monday Mindshift, the clarity you've been craving, the shift you didn't know you needed. Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome to Monday Mindshift. I'm Sean Michael, and I'm excited to be here and kick off this week with you and shift our mindset in the process. So, as you saw from the title, today is about the apology reflex, right? How we automatically say sorry, right? Without even thinking, we do this. I would say, apologies they have a purpose. They have a purpose and a place. They're meant for to help us repair a damaged or broken connection or relationship. But for many of us, they become, or they have become, the way to prevent disconnection or rejection. And let me go ahead and say happy Monday, good morning to Derek and Liana, who are here now. Anybody else, please drop your comments. Say hi, tell me where you're watching from, anything like that, because I don't know who's here if you don't say anything. Unfortunately, because of the way the connections work, I don't get to know that you're here. But my goal today, and I'm going slide free today, so you can see more of my old face. But my goal is to look at why we have this reflex. Why do we keep saying sorry if we haven't done anything wrong? Where did it start? How can we shift from this reflex of guilt and become grounded in our grace? Harriet Lerner said, "A good apology is one that takes responsibility, not one that takes blame." And before I go any further, I want to be really, really clear. This isn't about never apologizing, right? It's about the apologizing that hurts our self-respect, that hurts our self-concept, that leaks our power, right? Each of us as a human, we have power. I was having a nice discussion with one of my English coaching clients today about this, how as humans we have power, but we don't own it, right? We've learned to control it, choke it down. This is about releasing that and helping us all move to be kind and considerate, but for the right reasons. And to start, I made a nice little I know it's such a habit, Liana. It's such a habit. It's automatic. It's something I have it on my board to remind me. Don't say sorry when you don't need to. But you figure we've done it for years and years and years. It's not going to go away because we went to a live event and talked about it, or because we spent an hour or two journaling every day for 3 weeks. It takes time. We've got to break the old habits. But anyway, so I made a nice little video to share with you. So let me share that now.
There's this thing a lot of high achievers do. We apologize for everything, for taking too long, for speaking up, for existing a little too boldly. But the truth is, over-apologizing isn't politeness. It's self-erasure in slow motion. Somewhere along the way, you learned that peace depended on your ability to shrink first. Maybe you grew up managing someone else's emotions. Maybe conflict meant danger. Maybe approval was the only version of love you knew. So now your nervous system tries to keep you safe by staying small. Your mouth apologizes before your mind even catches up. But here's the thing, constant sorry doesn't make you kind. It makes you invisible. And you deserve more than disappearing to keep the room comfortable. Imagine speaking without asking for permission. Imagine correcting yourself with truth instead of guilt. Not sorry I'm late, but thanks for your patience. Not sorry if this sounds dumb, but here's my idea. You don't need to apologize for taking up space. You just need to remember you're allowed to. Yourself with truth instead of guilt. Not sorry I'm late, but thanks for your patience. Not sorry if this sounds dumb, but here's my idea. You don't need to apologize for taking up space. You just need to remember you're allowed to.
All right. I realized that repeated because from my side, it seemed to cut. Leslie, welcome, welcome, welcome. It seemed to cut before it finished. So I wanted to make sure you got to see the full 58 seconds. All right. So here's the diagnostic. Over apologizing, it's not about courtesy. It's actually a strategy that we adopted in our nervous system. And here are some of the common patterns. The peacekeeper. You say sorry to prevent conflict. You say something like, I just didn't want to upset anybody. And good morning, Meryl from Paramus and Lisa. Great point, Leslie, that sorry is a low vibration word, but apologizing is a higher vibration because it's objective. And I have noticed that as well, that it does tend to be more common in women. And I think there's a lot of reasons, and we can unpack that more later. But the second type, or the second pattern when it comes to over apologizing, is the perfectionist. Apologizing for existing imperfections, right? That's probably where mine came from, because I will be first to admit I'm a recovering perfectionist. Sorry I'm late. Sorry I talk too much. Sorry I fill in the blank, right? We apologize for our humanity. The permission apology. Saying sorry just for taking space. Sorry, can I just say something? Sorry, could I add to that? It's not courtesy. It's shrinking because we're apologizing for things that are outside our control. Right? We feel relieved after saying sorry, even if there was nothing wrong. Perhaps you even feel inside a little resentment for self-editing in the middle of a sentence. I would put it this way. Every time we unnecessarily say sorry, it's a quiet request for permission to exist. So where did it come from? If you can, first, when did you learn that shrinking was safer? Mark, welcome. Thank you for being here. Yeah, good point, Leslie. It's about or fear of rejection, fear of judgment, to align with the ghost of fear. So here's a little guided exercise. If you're able, go ahead and close your eyes. If not, play the replay, go back through this, but close your eyes and remember the first time your truth created tension. Maybe somebody withdrew love, they raised their voice, or they went cold. Did you learn at that point that peace meant disappearing? Right? Did you learn that you had to censor yourself to be accepted? All right. So here's some journal prompts. The first one: who taught me that being good meant being small? I'll go ahead and put that in the comments here. Let's see. Journal prompt. The next one: what emotion in others did I feel responsible to calm? And if you're a sensitive person or very empathic, this is a big one. This was a big one for me myself, that, and being a peacekeeper and an empath, a highly sensitive, I've when I became aware, I started looking at it and noticed how many times that I took action, like sorry, to maintain the room, to keep the emotion under control. And it wasn't even my emotion, it was somebody else's emotion. Yeah. So as Leslie says, sorry becomes a buffer. So the next question: what emotion in others did I feel responsible to calm or manage? And the third journal prompt is: what did I start apologizing for that wasn't actually mine? Right? Taking the time and thinking this through, writing it out, is very, very powerful, because awareness is the first step. When we notice where we are saying sorry unnecessarily, then we can start to modify it. But you can't fix what you don't know is broken, right? If we're not aware of all the times we said something unnecessarily, like sorry I'm late, or anything like that, we won't change it. So here's a reframe: you didn't become this way by accident. You learned to become a translator for other people's discomfort. Meryl's here, so I'm excited to say science time. Why does our brain, and yes, the brain, Leslie, but also bleeds into the mind? But when did this association that sorry brought safety? That's the key thing, is when did we start to associate, or why do we associate sorry as that buffer, as that's the safety tool? Part of it is it's conditioning and our attachment. Our early caregiving teaches us that harmony is the same as survival, so that an apology is it's a pre-action that we do for self-protection. And I've seen this in my 7-year-old. He's gotten to that point where If I call anything out, he's like, sorry, sorry, sorry. And I said, honey, I'm not looking for your sorries. I don't need sorries. Right? Let's change, right? Let's do things better next time. Oh, that's terrible, Leslie. My heart breaks over that. Um, I had it similar. I strove for my father's love and approval and all of that, and my mother as well, but my father more so. So the second part that sets up this connection, sorry means safety. It's because in that environment, our body drops into what we call fawn mode. It's appeasement. The body, you sense threat, danger. If this person is not happy with what I say or what I did, sorry becomes an automatic physiological, it's a physical response to restore the connection, right? Whatever happened, we feel it broke the connection. And when we're very, very young, connection is everything. They've actually shown that if a baby is not touched and held for regularly, they can actually die. Walking on eggshells all the time, that's nobody should live like that. But I also look at it is that today I can sit here and look at this environment and learn from it and realize that you know, I've learned to take everything that happened to me, everything that I've done in the past, and realize it had to happen so that I could be the person who's standing here today in front of you, sharing ideas that my goal is that if it makes the tiniest shift in your thinking. The third thing that brings this connection, this association, repetition. The same way we learn a skill, the same way we learn how to speak our language, repetition, repetition, repetition. But in this type of repetition, it builds an identity, a self concept of, well, I'm the peacemaker. Now try that. You develop this identity, this is me, of being the peacemaker. And then your star sign is also the peacemaker. And then, there's a line in the Bible that says, blessed is the peacemaker. And you got this snowstorm of thinking, I always have to be sorry. I always have to shrink to be accepted, to not be rejected, all of that, not be judged, not be criticized. The truth is, your body apologizes before your brain and mind can interrupt. Because in the past, it worked. I love this quote. I heard it way before I ever heard of Brene Brown. Guilt says, I did something bad. Shame flips that and says, I'm bad. Guilt is acceptable. Guilt is a useful tool. It's like, oops, I made a mistake. But shame, when we turn it into shame and we start believing I'm the mistake, that's where the problem lies. All right. So what do we do about it? What can we do about it? Well, my first practice is what I call the apology audit. Get yourself a notebook, a voice note, whatever you want to do this, or just mental notes. Notice your automatic apologies. When? Is it a certain time of day? Why? What was happening? Who? Do you notice that you apologize more with certain positions or people? By looking at this awareness, starting with awareness, noticing when, why, and who, we have that automatic sorry response. It begins to rewire that instinct. As I demonstrated at the beginning of the show, it still takes time and repetition. You will still catch yourself saying sorry unnecessarily. So here's an exercise. Get a sheet of paper or something. Write 3 columns. First column, recent apologies. For example, sorry I took so long to reply. Sorry I'm late, etc. The second column, what's the truth behind that apology? Maybe it was I was scared or I was afraid they would think that I don't care. I was afraid they, and write out, what is it in your heart? What is it in your feeling? What is that underlying truth for you of that automatic apology? And the third column, this is where the magic happens. Rewrite it. If you could repeat the situation with the knowledge you now have, right? One of my key presuppositions that I follow from NLP is that everyone, including me, is doing the best they can with the resources they have currently available. This is where awareness comes in. In the past, we didn't have the awareness, we didn't have the resources. When we gain new resources. So now we can treat the situation differently. So in column 3, I want you to rewrite. How could you say it that's still kind and considerate, but it's not that automatic apology, right? Like in the video, sorry for my dumb question. Change it to, I had an idea. Or simply, I have a question. Just rewrite it, right? Sorry I'm late. Thank you for your patience. I teach this to my English coaching clients all the time. Instead of sorry for the mistake, which they do, they make a simple mistake in English and they say sorry. And I say, no need to be sorry. It's part of your learning process. You're going to make, it's part of being human, right? Mistakes are human. Maria, welcome. Thank you for joining. Right? Look at ways to replace sorry for existing, sorry for taking up space. Replace it with gratitude, truth. Thank you. Turn sorry into thank you. It's an easy swap. This allows you to maintain empathy, maintain kindness, but hold on to your dignity. All right, so here's a little story for you. Imagine you're standing on a stage and there's a bright light shining on you. And every time you say sorry, that light gets dimmer and dimmer and dimmer. It's just a small dim, but it gets dimmer. And after years of that situation, standing under the light, and it's every time you apologize unnecessarily, that light gets a little dimmer. You actually forget you control the light. You see, reclaiming your presence isn't arrogance. I'm not advocating arrogance. it's restoration. And my question to you is, where have you been dimming your light just to keep the peace? All right. Practice number 2, the 2-chair dialogue. First chair is the peacemaker side of you, who says, I say sorry because I don't want to hurt anyone. The other chair is the power side of you, the fuller version of you that says, you're not hurting them, you're hiding from their reaction. It is possible to be kind and clear. So, 3 questions here. What are you afraid will happen if you stop apologizing? Be brutally honest with yourself. Don't filter. Write it down. What are you afraid will happen if you stopped apologizing? The next question, whose approval am I protecting with this apology? Maybe that person isn't even alive anymore, but there's still, that voice is still in your head. Your father, a grandfather, somebody who, with them, yeah, no, new neural pathways, rewired, updated OS. We can call it any number of things, but yes, it does change the processes and the connections in our brain by doing this. And Christy, welcome. The third question here with the 2-chair, how would it feel to speak without asking permission? To share your ideas, to share your thoughts freely and take what the hell, whatever they come. Is everybody going to love what I say, what you say every time? No. My favorite saying is, you can please all of the people some of the time, some of the people all the time, but it's impossible to please all the people all the time. Sometimes, yeah, Maria, that's so true. We unnecessarily say sorry. And it, as I was saying from the beginning, is at this point in life, it's automatic. Like, we don't even realize how much. If you start jotting down every time you said sorry, like just taking note, you'll be shocked how many times you say it. Yeah, it does. It does, Lily or Leslie. It does feel it eats at you. Now, as usual with the 2-chair dialogue, we're not trying to eliminate or shame or cast out the peacemaker. It's about teaching our peacemaker boundaries. Right? We've talked about boundaries before. Boundaries are important. Practice 3, the reframe script. What I want us to learn here is how we replace that reflexive apology with a truth-based alternative. The reflex is, sorry I'm late. The reframe, thanks for waiting for me. I appreciate your patience. Replace, sorry for, this might sound silly. Here's an idea I was thinking about. Sorry I can't. I'm not available for that. I'm busy. I have a commitment. Commitment could be your time for you. Language and the words we use leads who we are. And every time we reframe the sorry for the truth, it tells our nervous system it's safe to exist. It's safe to be in that space, right? Perhaps you were invited to a space and you're like, oh, sorry, you were invited. They let you in. Why do we want to diminish ourselves? Here's an exercise to go with this. Write this down. The place I over apologize the most is, and follow that up with, the truth I will honor instead is. Once again, the place I over apologize most is, the truth I'll honor instead is. This is part of the reframe process. We acknowledge where we say the sorry unnecessarily and replace it with a truth, right? I appreciate your patience. I appreciate you waiting. I appreciate your feedback on my idea, right? There's a difference between just like, here's my idea, like it, take it or leave it. Of course, yeah, it's valuable to get feedback on our ideas because then the next time we can have a better idea, can answer our own questions. Here's a 7-day practice. For the next week, track every unnecessary sorry. Swap out gratitude or a clear statement. I'm not available for that. And write once a day, at the end of your day, write this statement or something similar. Today, I honored myself by speaking without apology. Here's a quote from Audre Lorde. Caring for myself is not self-indulgence. It's self-preservation. That's wonderful, Maria. And oh, I love that, Christy. I understand you had a bad experience. I'm happy to help you now. Excellent. That's why they call her the customer service queen. Because that's a great way you can respect the customer's problem, show them empathy without that automatic sorry, right? So to wrap this up, way ahead schedule. I'm much faster when I don't have slides. But that just means more chat time, possibly. Now, over apologizing can seem polite, it can feel polite. But ask yourself, is it just really permission seeking? Because here's the truth. You don't owe the world smaller versions of you so that it can be comfortable. You don't owe the spaces you enter the smaller version of you so that they don't get uncomfortable. You alone are enough. We talked about enoughness last week, right? Own it. You're enough. You have value, you have worth. If you were invited to a space, if you were accepted into a space, you belong there. You may not be at the level of the other people in the group, but you were accepted into the space, into the group. Jasmine, I didn't know you were here live. I saw the comment before the show started. Maya Angelou, and I love Maya. She has so much wisdom. You alone are enough. Oh, that was her quote. Sorry. You alone are enough. You have nothing to prove to anybody. So take the steps, speak the truth, speak clear, swap out the sorry for something clear and truthful. So if you're done managing peace, if this spoke to you in some way and you're ready to shift powerfully, I do have spots open. I've extended the start date for the Real Mastery Intensive, which is a 6-week identity reframe. I say for leaders, the truth is we're all leaders. We just don't call it that yet. But consider this an invitation to the intensive where we will learn, among other things, how to replace apology with authenticity. Simply comment truth on the post on this event, whether you're watching live or replay. And I thank you all. Um, generally, men are not, Maria. Yes. Generally, men are not apologetic enough. Depends. Because I'm the guy that lived on the other side that apologized too much. But there's a story behind that. The story is I had a domineering mother who, when my parents divorced, she took me as her emotional husband and, yeah, caused, I took on ideas and beliefs because of that situation. Um, all right, Liana. So let me get the captions. So the comment is truth or DM me truth. If you don't want to comment on the event, send me a DM. Let's have a talk how to start on the path of shifting from shrinking to being truthful and clear, to stand tall in our value, our worth, which, as we've said, is inherent. There's nothing to do to earn it. It's already there. You were born with it. It's just gotten more, right? Because we've all taken on new learning, new skill, new abilities. All right. It's that point in the conversation. I got to do 3 of these. So there's the QR code, there's the code on screen, and one last step. Put it in the chat. So everybody has the opportunity to access it however works for you. And I say big round of applause, Liana, for catching that and sharing it with us. Because as we said, a lot of times we were unaware or we wouldn't share things like that because of the fears, right? The fears of rejection or judgment, criticism. But anybody who's willing, I'd love to speak with you. Anybody, you do not have to be on camera. I do camera because I'm camera comfortable. And that's also why I decided to do no slides today, so I could be more present. And the truth is that I didn't get them done, and that's okay. with everything going on, life. I'm so excited. Everybody, how's the new time? Does this time work for you? When I was talking with Leslie last week, yes, exactly, Maria. Use sorry genuinely when you have done something. When it was in your control, you've done something wrong, you hurt someone, and mean it, right? From the heart, not just still. How many times do people reflexively say sorry? They did hurt somebody. They did do something wrong, but they're just like, sorry. They don't really mean it, right? Stop using sorry to avoid conflict. Stop dimming your light. Beautifully said, Maria. Let us all practice using sorry properly, right? To mend real wounds, real damage to relationships. I think of, too, with sorry, it's like the old story of the boy who cried wolf, right? We say it so much. Does it have any meaning anymore? When we say it intentionally for real reasons. All right, Maria, you have a TED Talk. Why don't we have a live show or something? Why don't we hear from you more? Got some wisdom in you, girl. So let's hear it. Share it with us. Don't be shy. I don't have a TED Talk yet. Any further questions? Anybody willing to join me in the bullpen? Talk about this some more. I hate to cut this early, but I ran through my notes. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad you got something from it, because that's my goal. Oh, okay. Gotcha, Maria. Well, here's something to share with you guys. I've been formulating an idea. I don't know if this would be a TED Talk or just a speech I give. And it's called, let me get my notes, because if I just say it, it might be misinterpreted. But it's a bold title. Maria, it's so true. It is overdone. Like, so many times do people say it way too much. Sorry for this, sorry for that. None of it's in the control. It is more common with women. I definitely have noticed that. All right. So, big reveal. Here we go. My note. You suck. and that's okay. How radical self honesty unlocks unstoppable growth. Right? The core idea is we spend so much time and energy trying to show that we're good enough that we never get better. And the the pretense is when we stop defending our flaws and start developing through them, then we can actually grow. Also, if you have ideas of something you would like me to cover that that's in the path of what I've talked about, right? We've had shows on today. We had over the apology reflex. Let's see, what are some of my other shows? We did enoughness last week. Let's see. Right, we did letting go, looking in the mirror, that the mirror is not the enemy, self-betrayal, leaking when we're leading, ambition and drive when it's real and when it's negative, leveling up, how it leaves us grieving or a hangover from an old identity. The vision trap, your goals, the self you built to survive, sitting in the discomfort, that sacred space between who you were, and who you're becoming, boundaries. Is it growth or control? Right? Niceness. So I'd love to hear from you on what are topics you'd love to hear. Tell me, tell me, tell me. And I'm happy to talk about them. Anything's game. How to lead yourself first. Ooh, good, Christy. I I actually did an article on Substack that touched on part of that because one of my readers was sharing when they shifted from working for somebody else to being a full-time writer, finding discipline to keep themselves from sitting on the couch and eating bonbons, basically. That's the way my wife always says it. Like, get rich already so I can just sit on a couch and watch bonbons and watch Hallmark movies all day. She wouldn't really. She'd go crazy. But yes, that's a good one. I am going to put that down on a note because I think there's probably a lot of people that would appreciate that, right? And we talked about that once before, how all leadership starts with self-leadership. What else? Anybody else got anything? And I see we picked up a few more people. Peace over. That's a good one. I feel like you've thought that one through, Maria. Either that or you went and talked to Chatty G. I saw a person online, they call Chat GPT. They're like, oh yeah, I was talking to Chatty G. I love it. It's funny. It's easy to remember. Over. Toxic returns. Sometimes those are people who hurt us try to sneak back into our lives. I love it. I love it. Yes, I'll send you a message, Maria. That's too bad. Because I can understand that, my wife actually wrote her healing journal around something like that, about something, a door that she opened and she couldn't close it. Oh no, I'll reframe it. That's just an idea. It's a spark. Of course you have the copyright, Maria. Or perhaps I'll just bring you on, Maria, and you can talk about it. Lived experience, right? Because I think I've shared this before. Like, my nature, part of me is the peace, was the peacekeeper, right? It's my star sign, it's all that. At the same time, because of early conditioning, I didn't know the pattern. I was actually talking to a professional at one point. And he's like, "Oh, you're a chaos instigator." I'm like, "Oh, what?" And he explained. He's like, "Because you, in your life, chaos was expected. Like, peace and calmness was absent in your world. So you developed this response that when life is going good, you get uncomfortable. And so you cause chaos. That was me in the past, is that literally I could not handle a calm, peaceful life. I would do something to sabotage it, to the proverbial throw the wrench in the works, right? To mess up the machinery. I've spent years working through that, to release that and to change the internal code that is not me. I've learned to stop and slow down and just breathe, to enjoy the peace and the calm and the quiet. Um, but it didn't used to be me. I wanted peace, and I always did things to try and keep the peace. I've now learned that everything I tried didn't work because I was doing things like over apologizing. Yeah, so you guys ready for Leslie Maria, Sean Maria? You've already seen Sean and Leslie. I think they're ready, Maria. They may not be ready to admit it, but they're ready. All right, everybody. I've got a new closing. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for your questions, your comments, your inputs. I will take those to heart, because I I do this not just for me, because I'm learning in everyone. I do it for the people who come, for the interaction, from hearing from you all. I don't do it just for the likes. Nah. I don't need likes because likes don't pay the bills. Just kidding. All right, so here we go. Oh, Nick, welcome. I was just getting ready to wrap it up. I did flip it, Maria. That's why I'm now the identity disruptor, right? My goal is to help people snap out of the identity that got them, their survival identity, the old identity that is time to grieve it, let it go, so you can move into the new, better version, the 2.0 or the 3.0, whatever iteration you're on. So, yeah, that's my goal is let's disrupt. Kenneth, welcome. About time you made it. Sorry, I had to. Oh, see, I just did it. I had to, because every time I join a room, Kenneth makes that comment. Oh, you made it. So, Nicole and Kenneth, you weren't here when I asked the question. Is there any topic you would like see covered on Monday Mindshift? The field is open. Love to hear from you. Love to get input. What you would like to hear about? What would you like my take on? Because it's just my take. I do a lot of research on this and gather everything because that's me. I'm the research guy. I will collect all this data and digest it, pass it on. Saver Kenny, yes. The debonair Kenny. Yes. And between Kenneth and Meryl, oh, good one, Leanna. Forgiving ourselves. Right? Isn't that the most difficult? Like it's easier to forgive someone for their mistakes, but it's a lot harder to forgive ourselves. That's been my experience. That's what I've seen in other people. I have seen people that are like, I could never forgive that person. And forgiveness is one of those powerful tools that can shift our whole life. So these are great ideas. Thank you once again, everyone, for being here, for contributing. The instigator, the tree shaker. Yeah, it makes me think of those machines. They put it around the tree and shake all the nuts out of the tree. It's actually a positive thing, but some people don't like it. Right? How many parents, when the child's asking, why, what, when, where, are we there yet? They get annoyed. I use that as my training ground to not get annoyed with him because it's him learning. And it's inspired me to ask more questions of myself, ask more questions of others, ask Chatty G questions. All right. Thank you. Exactly, Maria. Forgiveness is not about anything other than carrying it with us, right? It's releasing ourselves from that. I once heard it said, holding on to unforgiveness is like holding a hot coal waiting to throw it at them. Who pays the higher price? Yes, there's forgiveness, which is all about me. If someone's done something or said something, forgiveness is all about me. It's not about them, 100%. It's about me. It's about releasing it. And reconciliation is a whole separate process. There's repentance, there's apology, there's a lot of steps for reconciliation and letting people back in. You know, you bring that up, Maria, and I will share when we talk about forgiveness. I was in a group where we had a confidentiality agreement, like at the church. So there was a confidentiality agreement. So everything that was shared inside the group was only to stay inside the group. It was never supposed to leave. But somebody in that group shared something of mine publicly to the church. And we had just done a big seminar on forgiveness, and I was like, oh, I forgive him. And so when I saw him on Sunday morning, I was like, hi. And he just brushed me off. And I was like, I was feeling hurt. But a pastor told me forgiveness is not about reconciling, or you don't have to let him into your life. You don't have to interact with him. And it was like, yeah, I don't, do I? It was a major realization. Forgiveness is just releasing yourself from carrying the pain, the hot coal, the resentment, the bitterness, all those low vibration things that just hold us down. Right? It's not, forgiveness is not waiting. We don't, forgiveness is not about waiting for the apology. Because as Maria said, it may never come, or it will be this halfway apology, right? This, let me just put a patch on it and everything will be okay, right? No. We don't work like that. Leanna, I think it's something many of us do. And it takes daily repetition of catching ourselves and go, why did I say it there? Right? That's why those reframes are so powerful, because we're retraining our brain, our mind, our thought process, and our body even, that instead of just sorry, don't do it. Like, think about it. Like, okay, does this deserve a sorry? Like, and if it does, let me make it intentional and real from the heart. All right, I got to wrap up because I got to get ready, get last minute things, because Monday afternoon is my son's cooking class, and he loves it. I love it for him, and I get an hour of peace. So that's nice too. So this is a little piece of an AI song I created. Once again, thank you very much for being here, for contributing, for sharing your thoughts, your ideas. Thank you, Leslie, Liana, Nicole, Maria, Mark, Christy. Leslie, Mark, Christy. If I didn't get your name, I greatly appreciate you. I'm thankful for you being here, even briefly.
Lost in the snare. Time to break free from those chains of doubt. With his voice like thunder, he calls us out. This is the awakening. The rebels arise. Feel the storm within you. It's time to defy. We're breaking the silence, tearing the walls with the identity disruptor. We answer the call. No more hiding in shadows. We step into light. We rebuild ourselves, empowering the fight.
Yes, that is AI created, Maria. I make no bones about it. That is AI created. Tracy, thank you for joining at the last minute. My overtime show. Would have loved to have you here in the live, but glad you're catching team replay. Anyway, everybody have a great week. Shift your mind, shift your life. See you next week.